Murphy, Financial Director.
I'm Mike Bulley, the Facilities Manager.
Timothy Williamson, Chancellor.
My name is Jeff Farrell, in charge of Community Relations. I'm Dave Grove, I'm the Campus Architect.
All right, thank you. Good afternoon, my name is Jorjet, and on behalf of Riverfront Builders, I'd like to thank you for allowing us to present our qualifications and proposal for your new Behavioral and Social Sciences building. We are very excited about this project. We have the innovation, expertise, and drive, and we are asking not only to be the design builder for this signature building, but also develop a wonderful relationship with Humboldt State University. And with that, I'll go ahead and introduce the project team. Again, my name is Jorjet. I am the project executive, and I'll be managing my staff. Della, the project architect, will facilitate the design and assist and manage the design team. Working side by side with him will be Javier Mederos, the project designer. He will incorporate all the lead requirements into the design and assist Adam in managing the design team. Farschi, our chief estimator, will integrate the design and schedule in order to develop the most cost-conscious guaranteed maximum price. Lucas, the project architect, will be the on-site leader once the construction starts. He will monitor and oversee all the construction activities, making sure that the project is on schedule and on budget. And finally, Dean Dudak, the superintendent, will be in charge of the site logistics. He will manage and coordinate with the subcontractors and also lead the safety meetings. For today's presentation, we'll go over briefly about our company, discuss the design and construction management plans, explain our design concepts, and then we'll go over the schedule, site logistics, and then summarize and do Q&A. Riverfront Builders has been in the construction industry since 1947. We have over 570 design and construction staff, of which 30% are LEED accredited professionals. Our corporate office is located in Sacramento, California. We have 17 satellite offices, and our home base office will be located in San Francisco to better accommodate the project needs. The services we offer are design assist, design build, pre-construction, and management services. Some of the benefits that Riverfront Builders can bring to this project is that we have in-house design capabilities in architectural, structural, and space planning. We also self-perform concrete and finished carpentry in order to control cost, schedule, and quality. Here's a comprehensive list of our design build trade partners and sub-consultants, ranging from building security, fire sprinkler, electrical, and civil, just to name a few. We have vast experience with many different types of structures, but as you can see, most of our work are tailored towards university structures. Here are some design build projects that we've done in the past that are LEED certified buildings. Arizona State University, University of Colorado, Azusa Pacific University, and Oregon State University. Our design development plan is typically a 4-phase process. During the conceptual phase, we will hold a charrette with you, the owner, to listen and understand what the project goals are and implement a plan to meet those goals. We will incorporate all the information from the charrette into the schematic design and further develop the design to include building systems such as mechanical, electrical, and plumbing, and also some architectural details. And finally, the construction documents will not only have greater details on the plans, but also include specifications in order to submit for permitting. In order for Riverfront Builders to successfully deliver this project for the best value, on time, and within the established budget, the project team will focus on the project goals and make sure that we stay on focus with those goals. Open communication is very important in order for the entire team to develop trust and be able to share ideas. We encourage collaboration, which is beneficial to this project, so that decisions are made quicker and any issues will be identified and dealt with expeditiously. The project team will also continually review, forecast, and adjust in order to control the estimate and schedule. We will also actively value engineer to balance cost, materials, constructability, and functionality, and we will be performing constructability reviews in order to verify if the design intent can be implemented or built. And with that, I'll go ahead and turn it over to Adam and Javier, who will explain the design concepts for your new spiritual yet innovative facility.
Thank you very much, Jorjet. Once again, my name is Della, and I'll be the lead architect on your behavioral and social sciences building. My partner, Javier Mederos.
Hello, gentlemen.
And our other fantastic design and architect and structural will look to work and further a relationship with you on this project. Javier and I would like to start with just a little intro into our design process. We begin by, once clarifying and reading all of your RFP, we begin with some space planning and bubble diagramming. A couple examples here. Up on the top right of the slide, we have a flow diagram throughout a campus from a previous project. This Javier will touch on in a minute. And then the bottom left, we have a typical floor plan of a previous project that shows layout and relationship of spaces to each other.
As Adam mentioned, a key factor into our design process is incorporating and creating a flow diagram. This flow diagram helps us is a helpful tool to ensure that we address circulation needs and also the existing and new features surrounding your new building.
Once we've gone through that bubble diagramming phase, we can then identify and solidify more of a footprint of the building. Once we've done that, we're able to put together a series of conceptual hand sketches that will further define the mass systems and other in the project. Here are a couple examples from previous. On the top right, a building much like your own for UC Davis. Down in the bottom, an example of another market sector that we're in, light industrial, a packaging plant that we did. And then last, the top left, a facility that we did for the New Belgium Brewing Company last year, proposed on, and unfortunately we were not awarded the project. For your building, a few statistics before we get into the renderings. In your building, we've incorporated a rough amount of 87,500 square foot for your RFP. Some initial front, punch windows, and some curtain wall systems on the exterior. We'll be utilizing a brick veneer mounted on metal studs as a complementary finish in the exterior. And we'll be utilizing a new and revolutionary structural system called ConnexTech, which I will get into a little bit more detail in just a minute.
While getting these sketches, we begin to think about any green systems that we could incorporate into our design. Now, these green systems help us reach our LEED certification, but most importantly, be able to construct and provide you and deliver you a sustainable building.
So without any further ado, we'd like to introduce you to your brand new behavioral and social sciences building. As you can see, as I touched on before, we have some exterior brick veneer around a large curtain wall. It spans 3 floors. We have implemented sunshades to block a lot of that evening direct sunlight. We have metal panel on the west and south sides of the building with the highest direct sunlight. And we've put your forum building right in the center. We've made this a real focal point of the structure to invite the public to, not only the students, but the public to come and participate in the workings of this structure. I'm sorry. There's also on the roof of the second floor behind the forum a faculty patio area that we have put there to, we understand that with expansion comes hiring of new faculty, so this is just one of those little selling features that you guys will be able to use for your new faculty.
So as Adam has shown you these remarkable renderings and described the exterior features and materials used for your new building, I'd like to address the site plan. First, we've actually reincorporated all your native plants and vegetation along the footprint of your whole new building, which will create a good entry for all the people visiting the building as well as noticing all your native culture. Second, we have oriented the building to face the northwest to reduce the direct sunlight into the majority of the glazing, which thus reduces the heat gain. Now, this orientation also focuses on the new locations of your 3 existing trees.
Right. Per addendum number 4, we noted that you had 3 trees within the building site that you wanted to preserve. So what we're proposing is that we relocate those trees into the northwest plaza, which the building addresses, the focal point of the campus. We at Riverfront have sat in our design meetings and we see these trees as 3 things: community, sustainability, and spirituality. Not only that, but we have contacted the local chief of the local Whack Whack tribe, He-Man, and we have had him graciously extend his tribe, and they will have offered at the ribbon cutting ceremony of the new building to bless the building and the site. And not only that, but donate a young sapling dug fir tree that we will plant in the center of this triangular area. This young tree will be supported and guarded by community, sustainability, and spirituality, and they will all help to nurture and protect during the growth of the education within this building. So now that we've seen the exterior and the site, let's go ahead and take a walk inside. I have these for you're looking at. On the first floor, we've tried to incorporate all of the public space to get them to come into the first floor and not necessarily interrupt the workings of the educational floors above. On the first floor, we've included the forum. The main green space in the middle is the Native American Gallery, with the proper support spaces to the east with the prep and storage. We've also housed the office space necessary for this floor, as well as graduate research and the animal colonies. On the second floor, we've housed the ethnic studies, religious studies, and modern language departments, all with the appropriate space for labs, classroom, independent workspace, and faculty and support staff, as well as general university space. On the third floor, we have housed the math department and the sociology, again with the proper classrooms, labs. In the math department, we have also incorporated a math lab here, as well as some individual as well as group study rooms.
Sorry, I may have missed it. Where are the animal labs?
On the first floor, we have included also a small roll-up door here for unloading for any performances that may go on in the forum, and we figured that would be a good spot for transfer from in and out of these animal colonies. On the fourth floor, psychology department was the greatest need for assignable square footage, so we've utilized this entire fourth floor for the psychology department, including per addendum 3, the space planning needs with the observation and interview room clusters down here, as well as faculty office space, labs, and observation rooms with the one-way mirrors into the interview spaces. On the fifth floor, we have housed the remaining philosophy, anthropology, and social work departments. Again, lab space, classroom space for each, as well as faculty space and support staff space.
Excuse me, where are the elevators?
The elevators, well, this is a bad example, but on the fourth floor, this is the full footprint of the building, we have one elevator down here to the west on the south wall, and one elevator to the east over here.
Thank you.
So as Adam has shown you the locations of all your requirements, of all of the program requirements, we would like to show you two examples of these design layouts. This first design shows approximately designed for 48 students with sufficient space, projectors, screens to assist in a technology-based environment. Now, this same room layout not only serves your curriculum, but it also functions as a location for your departmental needs, as well for any future expansion. Now, the second design shows a centralized teaching area where the instructor could engage with his or her students while not having to walk all around the room. This has proven to be very highly effective in a higher education facility by providing group learning environment, which has made students more attentive and productive within their education career.
Like I mentioned before, we were planning on proposing using a revolutionary new design of structural system called Connects Tech. This is a space frame system, which architecturally speaking, allows us to have much more free design, not having to worry about cross bracing, shear walls, anything that would limit future expansion for your needs. Also, the collars mounted to the column are made of 100% recycled steel. This whole system is fabricated off-site in a Connects Tech facility, inspected. All welds are done in the shop, so there are no field welds that are required once we get out on site. This system locks together. It has a 3D taper, which means that there is the angle decreases as it goes down, not only horizontally, but also within the depth. So if a beam is being tried to put in upside down or incorrectly, it will not fit. This allows for much faster erection time. The only inspections that are needed are visual inspections of the torque washers that an inspector can easily walk around and check. So this takes a lot of time out of our schedule, as Zach will talk about in a minute. Also, another benefit of ConnectStech is that just by using the system, it incorporates an additional 7 lead points. This is huge when we talk about our lead checklist, which Javier will get into right now.
So as you can see, we've actually been able to achieve your required silver certification by incorporating not only these few features here, but additionally we've actually gone over by 2 points. So in case there's any fluctuation within our gaining of the credits, we're able to still have some flexibility. These are the additional features that we will actually be able to achieve within our silver certification. Now, the payback for silver certification ranges from 4 to 8 years, and this is due primarily to the type of materials that are be using, since some of them have a quicker payback than others. Importantly, your energy savings is an annually of $25,000. Not only that, but also you were able to conserve water, have a water savings of 30%. Now, per your addendum, we've been able to incorporate a gold certification by implementing and incorporating a cistern system. This cistern will capture all of your water, runoff water, and be able to, the benefits of it is that 100% of the water for this building will be used by this system.
Building information modeling is something at Riverfront Builders that we have used in common on all projects for the past 5 to 10 years. As you can see, well, as we understand based on your RFP and your addendums, that you are well aware of the BIM and its capabilities and what it brings to a project. So I'm not going to give you a lesson on what BIM is, but how we are better at it than other companies. As you can see here, demonstrated by this video, this is a loose recreation of our schedule incorporated into the BIM model. We utilize 4D time lighting on a regular basis to not only sequence work, but find any major bus or logic ties that need to be reworked within our schedule prior to breaking ground and going into construction. Per your addendum, we are very excited to hear that you're interested in a level 400 model that can be turned over to your facilities management and be used throughout the process or throughout the life cycle of your building. We'll get into that too.
So now that you have seen our conceptual design, we hope that you are as excited as we are to start and maintain a relationship with Humboldt State University with ourselves. And with that, I'd like to pass it over to Jorjet.
All right. Thank you, Javier and Adam. And now here's Steve, who's going to impress you with our cost estimate.
Thank you, Jorjet. Hello. Wow, that was a spectacular building. You know, more I work with Javier and Adam, the more it becomes clear to me that these two individuals make up a very dedicated design team, more dedicated than any other team I've ever had the pleasure of working with. With that, I'd like to dive into the numbers as the chief estimator. We'll start with the savings. $135,000, bringing our initial GMP cost estimate to $23.3 million. We're under budget. Now, we asked you to keep in mind that that number factors in an 8% contingency due to the phase that we're in schematic design. As the documents progress in design, that number will decrease and therefore will be reflected in the cost estimate that we submit to you. Ideally, we'd like to lock in our GMP with you at 90% construction documents. 90% construction documents is a nice balance between risk and time, allowing us to start construction at an earlier pace. But that's scheduling, and I'll let Zach talk about that. Here we are with our construction documents with our 4% contingency at that phase, at the 90% construction document phase, when we'll be submitting our initial GMP to you, our final GMP to you. Now, let me touch on exactly what that means. Get a little more detail. Here we are, the end of conceptual design, the number that we've submitted to you in our proposal. If we are awarded the contract, we'll proceed in bringing aboard our design build trade partners, meaning our MEP, our fire sprinkler, and our elevator trade partners to help us in the design effort. At the end of each design phase, we will submit an interval cost estimate to you. As we arrive to the 50% construction document phase, this is when we feel comfortable enough to receive cost estimates from our trade partners. They will have more detail, more understanding as they went through the design process with us. We will take those cost estimates from our trade partners in their scope, plug them into our estimate, and submit it to you. Moving down to 90% construction documents, this is where we, like I said, want to lock in our final GMP with you, but also where we like to bring aboard our subcontractors that fulfill the lesser scopes of this building and this project. Now, to talk about how we do that, you'll see here a bid tally sheet. Typically, we like to submit from quotes for a minimum of 3 subcontractors per scope that they'll be fulfilling. We like to lay all these subcontractors out and compare apples to apples to see who provides the best value and fulfills the scope for this project. The great thing about this template is it's very intuitive, and we'd love to invite you to go through this process with us and help select the best value for you for this project. Now I'd like to show you your building in terms of percentages and pieces of the pie. I just really want to emphasize here that the mechanical and metal portions of the cost breakdown for this building are on the higher ends of this, are the higher part, bigger pieces of the pie for this pie chart. These percentages are typical from our experience in the type of building that you're requesting. Moving on to the additive alternates. Adam talked about the BIM level 400, the model that you'd like us to submit to you per addendum number
1.
Thank you, Jorjet. Addendum number 1. This model, $250,000. Additive alternate number 2, we've proposed that if you so choose, we'd like to extend your parking area, 17,000 square feet, more towards the building from the existing section that's there now. And Dean will show you that when he gets down to his site logistics. That cost is $85,000. Third additive alternate. We are proposing to you a cost savings of $102,000. That's if you provide the allowance for us to transport our workers from your parking lot at the other end of the campus to the job site. And this is only during the times at which most workers are on the site. And Zach will show that to you in his schedule. Lastly, I just want to touch on that cistern system that Javier talked about. Cost for that, $300,000, providing you with LEED Gold. The very last slide I'd like to touch on here is our cash flow analysis. Pay most attention to the bottom line there. That's the cost per month that you'll be spending. That's what that curve reflects. It's very important that the tallest sections of this curve are during the structural steel, metal decking, MEP penetrations, and cast and fleece concrete scope of work. That's the estimate, and thank you. I'll turn your attention back over to Jorjet.
All right, thank you, Steve. Now go ahead and turn it over to Zach and Dean, who will show you our fantabulous schedule and site logistics. There you go.
Thanks, Jorjet. Again, my name is Zach Lucas. I'll be your project manager on site. This is Dean Dudak, or as he's known on site as the Duke, known for his no-nonsense attitude towards quality and safety at all times on site. Here at Riffin Builders, we believe in the old carpenter's adage, you measure twice and you cut once. And how that pertains to scheduling is that we like to plan long and execute swiftly. As Jorjet alluded to earlier, most of our projects are projects just like yours. And through that experience, we've developed a method that we use on every project to develop and maintain your schedule. First, we have the development. Through development, we incorporate both our company's past experience on similar projects, as well as the experience of our design-build trade partners. Next, we have efficiency. Through efficiency, we can identify and streamline the critical path, concurrently working trades, as well as utilizing what is called foresight from hindsight. And what I mean when I say that is that we like to use what is called a pull method schedule. We'll have our scheduling meetings. We'll break up the schedule into manageable chunks. At these meetings, we'll invite all the trades in that portion of the schedule, and we'll go through the schedule in a forward pass, identifying each activity that needs to take place before the next one can occur. Once we've gone through the schedule in a forward pass, we'll go back through in reverse phase, and we will further identify and streamline that schedule, identify any bottlenecks and take care of them as the process goes. Next, we have control. Through control, we execute and evaluate constantly. Dean and I will be updating the schedule weekly, if not daily, making sure it's running smoothly.
And the way we can do this is I'll be creating three-week look-ahead schedules. I'll send out, or our subcontractors will send me bi-weekly progress reports, and we can see where everyone is and their scope of work, and see where we can phase or move scopes of work around to better streamline and deliver your project to you.
By implementing this method to our scheduling technique, it's proven to add value to you, the owner, guaranteeing that your project will be under budget and in most cases ahead of schedule. Now that I've told you a little bit about how we develop and maintain your schedule, let's go into your milestones that you requested for your RFP. As you see, we finishing design on July 27th, 2011. Long lead procurement will be ending October 13th, and we will be drying in the building August 27th of 2012, just in time for the heavy rain season. We will be completing your MEP testing and commissioning on November 22nd, and turning over the building to you a month and a half ahead of schedule on December 10th. That's your project, and I'd like to turn it back over to Jorjet, or no, to Dean, to go over your site.
Thank you, Zach. Myself and Zach have worked together on numerous past projects, such as your new building, and we can assure that by working closely together and with our subcontractors, we can deliver your new building as effectively and safely as possible. In devising our site logistics plan for the building, we've taken into consideration the busy campus activities, and for that reason, we're going to have our trucking routes coming in off 101 South, which unfortunately is on this plan, comes down onto 14th Street and heading up onto Union, entering on site and exiting. This will keep the trucking routes away from the main campus roads. And with that, let's go ahead and take a walk through your new project site. At every entrance to the site, we will have signage notifying pedestrians of the new construction in place, and that if they have to come on site for any reason, they're to sign in at one of our Riverfront Builders field offices. We will have a double-wide trailer for myself and Zach's purposes, and we will also have a trailer on site to house our design build meetings, and also if you would like to come on site and see how things are going, to collaborate in the design build process. For our proposal, we have a 6-foot fence encompassing the perimeter of the site to contain construction as well as to provide for security. And we will also have temporary lighting and cameras placed throughout the site to provide additional security. And you'll be able to see the view from these cameras online with the proper username and password. We will have subcontractor storage on site for all their needs. And we have a proposed admin parking as well as a Humboldt State parking for any visitors that want to come on site. We have our on-site haul routes coming in the main gate here off Union Road, circulating and of course coming back out. We have a material laydown and storage area here, and we have our recycle bins and trash bins here. We're shooting for 80% recycle rate on site, and we can guarantee this by closely coordinating and working with our subcontractors to do so. Here we have our proposed crane area, and given the constrained site area for the crane, we're going to have a very specific crane erection plan. Erecting steel from this corner, working back, working here, and then closing up the steel erection, working our way back towards the south side of the building. And per OSHA regulations, we have a man lift to provide access for our workers. And by utilizing our ConnectTech structural steel system, we'll have our permanent stair towers in place during steel erection, and this of course eliminates the costs associated with that. We have our utility tie-in at the northeast end of the site, as well as the area for the cisterns aforementioned. And per your RFP, we have an area for flaggers, shown by this blue circle, to control the flow of construction traffic in and around your site. And we have a site-specific plan in the proposal, as well as a site-specific erosion plan. And per your addendum number 5, you wanted parking to be at the G1 parking lot. And as Steve touched on earlier, this would accumulate to a cost of $102,000 for the duration of the project. I've contacted a local owner of the vacant lot here, and he's agreed to allow us to use this as our parking facility, which will, of course, return a savings to you. Safety is the #1 priority on site for Riverfront Builders. We have a very low experience modification rating of 0.59. The industry standard is 1.0, and this will ensure that our insurance premiums will be much lower than our competitors out there. Reflective of our safety programs in place are 3.5 million man-hours of self-performed work without injury or incident. One of these measures we have is I will have weekly tailgate meetings with our subcontractors to discuss safety on site and way to avoid hazards. And by having everyone on board safety-wise on site, we can ensure site oversight of your new project. Quality is also a concern on site, and for this reason I'll be conducting pre-installation meetings with all our subcontractors to make sure from the initiation of construction subs work will adhere to contract, to code, and to the specifications dictated by Humboldt State. I'll also conduct first work inspections for each trade and for each definable feature of their work. We will have inspection logs for you to view at your leisure, and I'll be on site viewing areas to be inspected to ensure that they will indeed pass before the inspector gets out there. I'm also conducting daily site walks to ensure the proper placement materials and that proper construction methods are in place. And please feel free to contact myself or Zach if you'd like to come on site and see how things are going. And I'll pass the reins back to our project exec. Thank you.
Sorry. All right. Well, thank you, Dean and Zach. And with that, our dedicated and experienced staff are here at your service. We love what we do, we have the expertise, and Riverfront Builders can bring value to this project, such as our signature design, Connect Cell structural framing system, being under budget, and of course ahead of schedule. Our mission is to successfully deliver your project for the best value on budget and on time. And again, I'd like to thank you for allowing us to present our proposal, and we look forward to signing that design-build agreement and develop that wonderful relationship, of course, with Humboldt State University. Are there any questions?
Plenty.
Of course you do.
You mentioned signing the design-build agreement. I guess I'm a little confused. Will you sign the design-build agreement right now for the number you've listed, or are you looking not to sign that agreement until you get to 90%?
I'd like to handle that question. We are willing to sign it now, but keep in mind that the contingency is higher. We'd like to sign on as the design builder now, but as far as locking in the final cost of the project, that's 90% construction documents. That's when throughout the phase, we like to work in collaboration with the design build trade partners to get that amount whittled down in the best value for you.
So if we want to sign now and go through a value engineering process or otherwise, do we get any savings return? And lock in our exposure right now at the top number? Or are you saying, again, we need to wait until a certain time frame and we get to 90% documents and then lock into that?
We would work diligently to provide savings to you throughout the life of the project, yes. But the price that we've submitted to you now would be with the 8% contingency factored into it.
Just wanted to add on to that. So basically, we're going to go ahead and sign on for that agreement. And throughout the phases, again, we'll provide cost estimates to kind of give you an idea as to what would be the final GMP. And any savings that we come up with, of course, 100% will go back to Humboldt State University.
I'm a little concerned about the relocation of the trees. I'm partial to that tree. I proposed to my wife.
That's even more reason to keep it on site.
That's an old growth redwood. So what measures are you going to take to ensure that you pull this tree out? It's going to sit for almost 2 years. How have you thought this through, and what measures are you going to put into place to assure that that tree is going to survive?
A couple things to address your question. Per the addendum, I was under the understanding that these were all Douglas fir.
My mistake.
Okay. So if they are all Douglas fir, then we have acquired a quote from a reputable man who has a business that is relocating trees, and we plan on relocating those trees at the beginning of the project and getting them to their final resting place and not disturbing them during construction. So having them sit on off-site or somewhere else on site, not in their permanent location where they can reroot and continue to flourish, that shouldn't be an issue. And you can bring your wife back that tree on your anniversary.
Thank you.
I noticed in your design write-up that you were going to incorporate some lean construction techniques in the project, and you mentioned last planner specifically. But are there other lean construction techniques that you plan on utilizing on this project?
Oh, well, we utilize a pull method schedule on this project, as well as we like to and always encourage the trade of the sharing of information, even when it's not fully developed, so we can get an idea of where everyone's at in the design, and we can get together on identifying any issues and solving them effectively.
One major one that we use is not only the pull method scheduling, but also the pull planning as far as material orders go, as far as having things on site. We don't like to bring things on site and have them sit. Obviously there's a certain time for something to be implemented into the building, installed. So to have that out there, a number of months ahead of time is not, ideal. So we like to use that pull method where the trade before, as they're getting to completion, we then, aside from the long lead items, we'll then stock our material laydowns with the next phase to go in. So it's just a pull method that is one of the lean, principles.
I noticed in the presentation on the scheduling that you were going to dry or you were going to have this building finalized by what, August or something like that?
It was. It was mid-August, I believe.
Yeah, that's what I thought too. And so I was looking at that and I noticed that you have a lot of drywall and insulation in parts of the building going in way before that. How is this stuff? How is that going to be protected?
If the rain does come early, we will we'll cover the building in visqueen so that it can protect all the drywall that's in place.
Before it's
weather tight.
yeah.
Another question on your schedule. You have shown here to submit for your grading permit on March 15th. So,
Correct.
We're giving you a notice to proceed on March 15th. How do you accomplish that, giving you a notice to proceed and then immediately going in for a grading permit?
Well, we felt we can apply for the grading permit early.
What we like to do is we like to phase our designs as well. So we'll design in packages. So as soon as we have that notice to proceed, our design for, almost at this point, our design for site work and the grading and all that stuff is very, very close to being complete. So as soon as we get that notice to proceed, we can get that permit and get started while the remainder of the design is being finished.
How are you incorporating your inclement weather into the schedule?
How do we? I'm sorry.
Well, again, this is a very rainy
Correct.
area, and what I'm concerned about is how that rain is going to impact your schedule. So how are you reflecting that in your schedule?
Well, we have it on the tail end of the job, so that any delays will not affect the end day of the project.
Do you think the 45 days is enough for 3 years?
Actually, in my schedule, I accounted for 60 days, and the way we came up with that number is we use NOAA, and we figure out which days are above 0.5 inches of rain, and that's how we came up with that number.
Going back to my boss's concern over here on the trees, I noticed that in the schedule you have only 1 day to relocate those. Do you think that's enough to protect those?
I think that's a typo. It's supposed to be 10 days.
You mentioned that you're going to self-perform your concrete and your carpentry.
Correct.
How many people are you planning to bring to the area where you're going to house them?
We have our office, as Jorjet mentioned, we'll be working out at San Francisco office. Drive time is approximately about 2 hours. Is that accurate? So we'll have to house people on site. That's something that I think we can look into and get back to you at a later date on.
Typically, from our experience, we've established that the subcontractors that come onto the site. I'm sorry. If you decide, because that portion of self-performing is reflected on you observing the value, and we've obviously done our best to account for that value, but ultimately the decision lies with you, whether another subcontractor provides that at a better value than we do. But again, if it resolves with you, then we are more than able to work to get another trailer on site to house them.
Tell me a little bit about your foundation design that you're providing for this project.
We understand that the water table is at 30 feet, and so we're proposing 45-foot caissons to be in place with a pile cap or a cap, and then our structural steel will be anchored to that.
Just slap on.
Yeah, with a slab on grade.
Getting back to the carpentry and concrete, so you're planning on importing all of your workforce in from out of town for those two trades?
No, well, what we'll most likely do is we will go to the local union halls and get local labor to fulfill that.
So do you have some sort of a program? Can you tell me something? What, the public's going to want to know, how are we going to get local jobs for local people there? How will you explain that to them?
I think you can, a good explanation would be that we will attempt to pull as much local workforce from those union halls and from the surrounding areas. Looking at those subcontractors that we'll be taking the 3 bids from for each scope of work, we'll factor in proximity to the site. So if they are not only our own labor, but the subcontractor labor as well, we'll try and get the vast majority of our workforce as close to the project as possible.
Will local contractors have the opportunity to bid on concrete carpentry as well?
Definitely.
Of course. We take 3, we submit a bid just the same way that we would for our subcontractors. We submit a bid for our self-performed work, and we take 2 bids as well, and we compare just the same way we would for 3 other contractors.
Great, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
So you're a union contractor, correct? This area here has a lot of non-union contractors that are local businesses that we want you to reach out to. How are you going to handle that?
Okay, well, we do have a dual gate system in place. Not shown on my site walkthrough. We have a gate located away from the main routes and roads leading to the site, just in case any issues do arise. We've never had issues with that in the past, but in case things do come up, we understand the importance of having a dual gate system in place to deal with these as they arise.
Now, on your schedule, notice that you jump from notice to proceed to going right into DD design. But on your schedule, you showed us there was a schematic design phase. So, is there a schematic design phase?
We are technically in the beginning of the schematic design phase right now. So, not reflected in our schedule. We've reflected the schedule from the notice to proceed on. So we're in the schematics right now. We're working out those spaces, getting the design to a point where we can work with you to finalize and get your input for all the spaces necessary. And that's what is reflected from our notice to proceed on.
And what are you doing relative to the standby power system? Can you talk about a little bit what you have incorporated and where that standby power system will be located in the facility?
Are we referring to the transformer for?
In the RFP, we asked for some kind of standby power system, so if there's a power failure, we have some kind of backup system within the system. How are you incorporating that into your design, and what kind of system you use?
I think once we get into the design of it, we'll determine what type of system to use. But that will be in that planning phase, but it will be incorporated.
Back to logistics a little bit. Temporary utilities, how do you plan on handling those?
Okay, well, as shown, hold on. Maybe I'll go to the site walkthrough, it'll be easier to see. Yeah. As shown at the northeast end of the site, we found an existing spur that we were able to tie into, and we'll be able to provide all of our needs on site for
You'll be
utilities.
providing your own distribution boards.
Yeah.
How do you handle the sound attenuation during the construction? Obviously, we have residents to the east of the facility, and we want to obviously be a good neighbor. How are you going to handle the noise levels that you're creating during construction?
So these piles, these hourglass piles, they're constructed on site, and they're lowered, they're hoisted down. So there's minimal noise factor to those. And the majority of that, and it primarily is to the factor that we do not want to obstruct not only your residential, but also your adjacent buildings, and also the trees that are located there, not having it and minimizing the impact of any failures or causes or damages that would exist to the adjacent site.
Another standard practice that we use at Riverfront Builders is having built a lot of projects, we understand that noise is an issue. So we have a pretty standard flyer and method of going to the surrounding neighborhoods and just alerting them well in advance that, you know, on this particular day, if it's an activity that we just can't avoid some noise, you know, bear with us. It'll just be a little while, and we'll get through as quickly as possible, if necessary.
1 minute. I heard two different foundations
Yeah,
just now.
that too.
I heard auger cast piles and I heard caissons.
No, we're using
caissons.
caissons.
Sorry,
Using
sorry,
caissons,
yes.
okay.
You've done multiple buildings.
How about SWIP?
Yeah, per your RFP, we have a site-specific SWIP plan in place. Typically, it will be rumble plates at the entrances to the sites, and also large aggregate if needed, filter fabric, wattles around storm inlet drains, and depending on the turbidity of the water on site, the runoff water, we have money set aside for a banker tank and filtration system to ensure that water going back into the storm drain system is cleaner than the water it's going to be going into.
So are you providing a QSP on this job, or how are you handling the QSP?
What is QSP? I'm from the office, so I'm not really sure.
Qualified SWIP practitioner.
Oh, qualified SWIP
Okay,
practitioner.
my assistant superintendent is a qualified SWIP practitioner.
Very good.
Very good. Good answer. I like that.
And one more time, what was the name of that tribe?
The Wacka Wacka Trap.
I just want to see if you can...
They've already been to our office to express, they've already expressed their concern with, or not concern, but they're just overwhelming joy with this new project to, you know, enhance the knowledge of the Native American community.
I have one question. Did you handle the architectural sloping of your building, of the roof, coming to the front, your basic public entrance? How are you going to handle that if your gutters stop up? Got to make it fast because you're getting close.
Go ahead. So what we've done is actually our slope, it will be coming on the brick finish, is actually...
That's in front of your building, right?
That's in front of our building.
Okay.
Is actually a parapet, a small parapet, right here.
Okay, so
where
when
the
that
water
backs
will be
up, then it
captured
leaks
there, and
inside,
it'll be
right?
It'll be going inside.
Okay, that's cool. All right, you're finished.